So now in section 2.3, we are going to continue solving linear equations, and we will continue with our general strategy for how to solve equations. You want to get that variable by itself, isolated on one side of the equal sign. And sometimes our equations will have fractions. Sometimes our equations will have decimals, which is fine. You are allowed to use your calculator, but let's make sure that we know how to perform the operations correctly. And then sometimes you might have actual identities in your equations, and then sometimes there's actually no solution. So in other words, this case is it doesn't matter what value you put in for x, both sides of the equal sign will always be true. This case is it doesn't matter what you put in for x, both sides of the equal sign will never be true. All right, so let's look at classroom example 1. We want to, when it says solve, we look here and there's only one variable, it's just x. So when they say solve, they mean solve for x. Get x by itself on one side of the equal sign. Well, first step is to remove your paren. So we're going to distribute that 5. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times -1 is -5. Just be aware, this is a very common mistake. People will multiply by the 5 the first term, but they will forget to multiply the second term. That's very important to make sure you multiply everything inside the parens by the number outside the parens. Then bring down the plus, bring down the 2, bring down the equals, and nothing to simplify over here. Now let's combine our like terms. This is going to become 15x minus 3 equals 12x plus 6. You know, just one operation per line. We have an x here and an x here. We want to get that x to the other side of the equal sign, so we'll subtract 12x from both sides of the equal sign. 15x minus 12x is 3x. Bring down the minus, bring down the 3, bring down the equals. Those cancel, and bring down the 6. So we have 3x minus 3 equals 6. Let's continue to solve. All right, we'll leave. I'm going to put my finger over this 3x. We will deal with that later. My first goal is I've got to get that 3 on the other side of the equal sign. Should I divide by 3 first? No. I should add 3 to both sides first. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And this is going to become 3x. Bring down your equals, 9. Now we're one step away. Let's divide both sides by 3. And we get x equals 3. All right, and remember to check your work. We're not going to check all of them on this video, but you should always check your work. This way you find your answers, if your answers are correct. And if you've made a mistake, you find your mistake. So we do what's in the parens first. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 1 plus 2. 12 times 3 is 36 plus 6. 5 times 8 plus 2, does that 36 plus 6 is 42. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 2. Does that equal 42? Yes, it does. So we've checked our work. And we know we've got the right answer. So you go ahead and try practice 1 now, section 2.3, practice 1. In classroom example 2, again, the same technique as we want to remove the parens by using the distributive property. Distributing that 9, we're going to get 45 minus 9x, don't forget to multiply all the terms inside the parens, equals negative 3x. All right, and here, since we're talking about equalities or equations, it doesn't matter if the x is on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, whichever operation is easier. So I have an x here and an x here. I'm going to move this x to the other side. Let's add 9x to both sides. So you're going to bring down the 45, bring down the equals, and negative 3 and positive 9 is positive 6. And let's divide both sides by 6. So are we going to leave our answer as 45 over 6? No, we're not. We're going to reduce that. Let's put 3 into both the numerator and denominator. Oh, sorry. 15 over 2, or 7.5. And again, you can do this on your calculator. Put 45 over 6 in your calculator, and whatever your answer is, say, show that as a fraction, and you'll your calculator will show that the final answer is 15 over 2. Let's kind of clean that up a bit. And again, you're going to want to check your answer. Now let's look at this last problem here on this page, because we look at this and we go, oh, fractions, and some people just say, oh, I don't like working with fractions. You'll do fine with fractions. Our first step here is we will want to clear the fractions. So I agree, sometimes fractions can make problems, 1 degree harder, but there is an operation to clear the fractions. My denominator here is 2. Remember, whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So my denominator here is 2, and my denominator here is 2. So, you know what? If I were to multiply both sides by 2, both sides of the equal sign, I'm going to multiply that side of the equal sign by 2 and multiply that side of the equal sign by 2. As long as you do the same operation on both sides, you'll still be equal. So I'm going to write this out explicitly. That's going to be 2 times 5 over 2x minus 2, distributing the 2 to the first term and to the second term. And then this is going to be 2 times 3 over 2x minus 8. 2 times the first term, and then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 times the first term and 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. What have I just done here now? I can reduce. I have a 2 in the numerator and the denominator. They're going to cancel. So this side of the equal sign has now become 5x minus 2, which is equivalent to 5 over 2x minus 1. It just doesn't have any fractions. I've just cleared the fraction. Same thing here. 2 goes into 2, and I'm left with 3x minus 8. All right, so now I can go ahead and solve. Let's get the x's on one side of the equal sign. So 5x minus 3x is 2x minus 2, and that's going to equal negative 8. Let's come on over here and write this over here. 2x minus 2 is going to equal negative 8. Now I'm going to put my finger on that 2x. My problem right now is that negative 2. That's what I want to get rid of first. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. 2x, bring down the equals, negative 6, and divide by 2. And so x is going to equal -3. And then this is something you would want to check on your calculator. Do 5/2 times -3 minus 1. And what is 3/2 times -3 minus 4? So 5/2 times -3 minus 1 is -8.5. I'm just checking on the calculator now just to check my work. 3/2 times -3 minus 4 is also -8.5. So a check. So we know we got the right answer.